And we wanna talk about the kind of the ending kind of thing of at least uh, of Jacob, and also the ending of when Joseph died. So before here, we kind of talking about the life of Joseph. How he be able to interpret the dreams, and then later the brother doesn't like him, trying to kill him, but finally he sold, to a Midianites, and they sold as a slave in Egypt. He's been okay. Then later, Potiphar, see how good he are, in the or management, and then they put it in charge of the whole house. But then Potiphar's wife accused him falsely, accused him. Then he need to go to the prison. In the prison, he met the cupbearer and the baker of the Pharaoh. Then he interpreted the dreams too. He interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh. Then not only that, but also they be able to be in charge and to be the second to be the prime minister of Egypt. And then all the situation with the family, family come for the famine, and he could be able to forgive them. And we're there, okay? We are now there. Last time that we're together, we talk about Jacob, Joseph's dad, who came from Canaan to Egypt. And then when he saw when Jacob see Joseph, he was really like, wow, what a great, thing. He was with him for 17 years, okay, before Jacob died. So he had about 17 years, kind of the same 17 years that he had it, when he born, because at 17 he was sold as a slave. And then later he got another 17 years since Jacob arrived to Egypt, had 17 years with Joseph, and now Jacob died. So we're in that time. I want to start putting Genesis 46, 6 and 7 says, so Jacob and all his offspring went to Egypt, taking with them their livestock and the possessions they had acquired in Canaan, okay, all the possessions. 7, Jacob brought with him to Egypt his sons and grandsons, and his daughters and granddaughters, all his offspring. So Jacob decided, I want to bring everything. He doesn't leave anything in Canaan, so he brings everything to Egypt, understanding that not only is going to be short term, but it's going to be 400 years they're going to be there. Of course, he only be 17 of those 400 years. And we could see here in the when before Jacob kind of died, he blessed Joseph's sons, okay, Manasseh and Ephraim, okay, and also bring all together all his sons and then talk to them, before he died, and then he died. And then it says over here, Jacob lived in Egypt 17 years, and the years of his life were 147. When the time drew near for Israel, Jacob, to die, he called to his son Joseph and said to him, if I have found favor in your eyes, put your hands under my thigh and promise that you will show me kindness and faithfulness. Do not bury me in Egypt, but when I rest with my fathers, carry me out of Egypt and bury me in where they are buried. Okay? I will do as you say. He said, Jacob said, yes, I will do it. So right now, Jacob died, and Joseph's gonna bring his father to Canaan, the same place that Abraham, is in a cave, where Abraham is already there. So Genesis 50 and 7 says, so Joseph went up to bury his father. All Pharaoh's officials accompanied him, the dignitaries of his court, and all the dignitaries of Egypt. So it was big people, okay? Was a lot of them, went to Canaan to bury Jacob. Their sons and the dignitaries, people from Egypt also went over there. So when they go over there and they come back from there, that happened. As they buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt together with his brothers and all the others who had gone with him to bury his father. So all of them, they buried them, they come back, and when they come back, their brothers start talking. What happened with them? They say in the 15 says, now that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers were worried. They said, remember all the bad things we did to Joseph? What if he decides to hold those things against us? What if he paid us back for them, for all the bad things that they did it? Imagine, they've been already forgiven, okay? But they didn't accept it. They were still thinking like, wait a minute, how about if Joseph only appeared, okay, to forgive us, but really deep in his heart doesn't forgive us yet. He just appeared because he wants to be okay with our father, with Jacob. But now Jacob died, is dead. So they say now the true Joseph is gonna come out and wanna take revenge. It's okay to think about it, okay? So in the end, the brothers didn't feel 100% forgive. They thinking for 17 years, not only they was suffering because the secret that they have when they sell or sold Joseph, and over here, but now he have it for 17 years that I don't think we are forgiven. I don't know you, but sometimes we go to the Lord, and we're thinking, and maybe the devil remind you for something that you did long time ago. The devil come and say, look, what you did, that time, and like, oh man, and you already are forgiven for that sin, and you're thinking like, oh, maybe it's not forgiven. Maybe if something bad happened in my life right now, it's because of what I did long time ago. So that is kind of the mentality of the Joseph brothers. They don't feel 100% forgive. And sometimes happen to us too. Sometimes we're thinking like a few things, yeah, you're forgiven. But other things, I don't know. I need to ask again and again and again to see if, he forgives. Instead of knowing how God is, okay? I want to explain a little bit how Joseph felt, okay, when that happened. So the brothers get together and say, look, we want to send somebody because we are not allowed to be in front of him, okay, with this. So we want to send somebody else. So what they say, Genesis 50, 16 and 17 say, so then send word to Joseph, saying, your father left this instruction before he died. 17, this is what you are to say to Joseph, okay? Supposed to be, the father want to say that. I ask you to forgive your brothers the sins and the wrongs they committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sin of the servant of the God of your father. When their message came to him, Joseph wept. I want to stop over there. They say, okay, they're driving. They're coming back from Canaan, and they say, we need to let him know that he needs to continue be nice with us, okay? They need to forgive us. But we don't feel like we need to be in front of him and say, look, we understand, what we did to you. No, we want to send somebody else, okay? What happened is that, it's like I can see with my kids, sometimes, the oldest one send the little one to say, hey, can we play some video games? And they say, you understand who sent him, okay? And they say, who sent it to you? I don't want to say anything, okay? Because they think it like, if we send the little one, then, he could be able, he will be more willing, to happen. But sometimes it doesn't happen, okay? It doesn't happen that way. So imagine, if the brothers could send Benjamin, okay? Why would send Benjamin, okay, to say that to him? But no, he sent another person. And then they say that to Joseph. But look at this. They say over here that they send the word to Joseph saying, your father led this instruction before he died. You don't think it's his father want to say that to Joseph in 17 years he was together? He could say that. He looked like he was kind of made it up, okay? He was like, okay, we need to figure it out. But they don't feel like asking for their own sins. They don't feel like they could do it. So they put it in the father's, okay? In the honor of his father. I know that was so important, his father. So we say, your father said that, to you. Okay? That just to let you know, we just want to remind you right now, right here, that you need to forgive the sin of your brother. Why you treat you so badly. and then Joseph, when he hear that, he thinking like, he's lying. They're lying. And they wept, okay? He cried because he says, oh, come on. You don't know me? I've been 17 years already with you, and you don't know me? It was really hard for Joseph to they don't believe that he really forgive them, with his heart. 18 says his brother then came and threw themselves down before him. We are your slave, they said. What happened? Now, when they saw Joseph crying, okay, wept, they come now there in front of them. Maybe there was like looking, from the distance to see how was his reaction. And then when Joseph cried, then all of them came and bow down, okay? And then say, okay, we are your slaves. But what does Joseph did? But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? I'm going to stop over there. They, sorry. Say, am I in the place of God? They say, really? You don't really understand that I forgive you, really from my heart. You put it, my dad memory, to I forgive you. And now I want to make a parenthesis over here. The brothers understand how honor or how influence Jacob had in Joseph. Okay? So we need to understand as a fathers, that we have influence in our kids, for good or for bad. Okay? Is many of us, remember what does our father, said to us. Because there's a authority figure, okay? So we need to pray to God, okay? We as a dad or parents or a father could do bring the kids, to the Lord, okay? Like a guide them, to the Lord, because it's so important what we say. Sometimes we don't think about it, But think about, your dad, or think about the father that you had. All the things that you had, the memory that you have, okay? So even though Jacob already died, okay, he's dead, the brothers understand how the influence, are in Joseph. That's why they say, okay, your dad said that to you, even though it was a lie or was made it up, okay? Because we need to understand how as a father have a lot of influence in our kids. So we need to pray the Lord or us, praying to the Lord that we could be a good influence on them, okay? Even though we're not perfect, but we need to be a good influence to them. Now, Joseph, normally we were talking about Joseph and Jesus, okay? Normally we're kind of say how close they are, okay? So Joseph didn't minimize what does their brothers did to him. In the 20 says, you intend to harm me, but God intended for good. Okay, we're going to do it again. But Joseph said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? 20. You intend to harm me, but God intended for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children. And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. What Joseph was doing over here, they say, look, I do it with my heart. I really forgive you with my heart. Not only right now, 17 years later, but I did it long time ago. And I do it with my heart. It's what he's saying over here. And they say, but he doesn't minimize what they did. They say, no. You trying to harm me. He doesn't say, come on, brothers, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, come on. No, it's a big deal. But even though it's a big deal, I forgive you. Sometimes when we sin, we're trying to having these kind of levels of sins, okay? Some sins are worse than others, okay? So we have that in our minds. Like, yeah, I do this, but it's not that bad. But the other ones, that's bad. Normally we think that the other sins, or when the people sin against us, is worse than when we sin. Okay, that's something over here. This is like, they sin really bad, okay? But what thing we do, we commit mistakes. Okay, we're not that bad, okay? Sin is sin. And the sin separates us from the Lord. Okay? So that is important, but sometimes we're thinking like, no, it's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal. The sin that we need to be honest with our sin. And we need to want to go with the Lord and say, yeah, it's a big sin, okay? And sometimes, we need to understand that our sin is kind of the same or worse than the others. But it's not ending there. Could be a big sin, okay? But the forgiveness that Jesus has for us is bigger than that sin, whatever it is. So we need to be honest with the Lord. We need to be honest with each other and say, look, yes, I commit mistakes, but it's a sin, not only a mistake, it's a sin. And we need to call it like that. Joseph called it like this, you intend to harm me, okay? And it's the truth. He's not saying lies. But the greatest truth over here is, but God intended for good to accomplish, okay, what he had for us, for me. He twists, okay, what you're trying to harm me, he do it for good. So we need to understand that the hand of God on us, that even though in this world, we are in this world, and then the people sin against us, and we're kind of angry, and we're trying to hold it over here, but we need to understand that God is with us. If we love God, and we accept Jesus in our heart, and we're trying to do God's will, his hand is over us. He's trying to protect us. So say, it doesn't matter how much the people want to harm you. I want to do good to you, okay? I want to intend it good for you. So don't separate, okay, the sin that other people do to you and say like, no. And the only way that you could do that is when you don't become or put in the place of God. What is that? In the first part says, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? Joseph are talking, to the brother, say, am I God? To tell you or to do the revenge kind of stuff? Like, no, I'm. God is going to do whatever he wants, okay? But I don't need to be part of it. Okay, I'm not God. When we don't forgive others, it's like we're sitting in the place of God. We say, no, I don't want to forgive you. No, even though it's harder for us, okay? Maybe other people doesn't remember, or maybe doesn't think about it. How many, when I have a time with my dad, and then go to the point that something that I remember, was really bad, okay, what he did, and I remember that, and I let him know, and he said, man, I don't remember that. I go, man, how can you forget? I remember really clear. How was it? And he doesn't remember, why? And all this year I was kind of, okay, put it over there. Because I was angry when sometimes the other people doesn't remember those kind of stuff. So that's why we need to forgive. The main thing, since 2 months ago, or 3 months, I don't know, since I started with Joseph, if you didn't forgive at least one in all these weeks, my goal is that you do that. You need to forgive someone that maybe is kind of hurting you or hurt you before. And you did. That's the goal. Okay? The same way that Joseph being treated badly about the brothers and say, yeah, you sin against me. You're trying to harm me. I understand that. But I want you to know that God is going to turn this thing for good. And in that time, Joseph doesn't have the Bible and say, oh, yeah, in Romans 8:28 say that. No. In that time, he doesn't have the Bible, okay, the New Testament in that time. But he knows the Lord, and he knows the truth in this, that he's going to do good in him, okay? It doesn't matter what's the evil, people will do against him. God is going to do good. So we need to rest in that truth. Sometimes we use, Romans 8:28, and I don't need to remind you that. Okay, we use that one, but sometimes we don't believe that truth. Joseph know that truth and live it. Then later, okay, Paul kind of write it down, okay, for us. But in that time, he knew the Lord, and he knew that he's going to do good to him. So we need to believe in that. It doesn't matter how the people treat us. So when we don't want to forgive, we ourselves put in the position of God. What does Romans 12:19 says? Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it's mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. So if the Lord wants to pay, okay, to the brothers, okay, he could do it. Okay, he could use anything but it's not Joseph's work to help him to do it. Okay? Joseph said, I forgive you. God is going to decide what I'm going to do with you. But don't see myself, want to take revenge on you. He understands that. So we need to understand this thing also. If the people pay us bad, we need to be forgiving him. First of all, because we don't want to have this kind of, things in our heart, and we need to change our heart to whatever happened, God is going to do better when we heal, this situation, this sin, when the people sin against us. Genesis 50:28-24 says, Joseph stayed in Egypt along with all his father's family. He lived 110 years, okay? And saw the third generation of Ephraim's children, also the children of Machir, son, and Manasseh, were placed a burden on Joseph's knees. 24, then Joseph said to his brother, I'm about to die, but God will surely come to your aid and take you out of this land to the land he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? Then Joseph say, I will die, but you don't want to be here. Okay? You want to go to the promised land. Okay? That he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He promised to my dad, to my grandpa, and to my great-grandpa. It's kind of what he's saying, Joseph saying that. And when he said that to them, it's because he really believed it. It's going to be just a few times, How much a few times? 400 years. Not a big deal. Sometimes when we see that, like, oh, it's a long time. 400 years is a long time. But remember, what does Abraham was promised, from the Lord, is like he will have, okay, a nation. How are you going to make a nation, okay? It take it for Abraham, okay, where is it, okay? It take it for Abraham, take it 25 years after, God talked to him, 25 years to add one more, Isaac. 25 years, and then Isaac appeared. And then to Isaac, take it 60 years to add one son. That was Israel, Jacob. Okay? And take it to Jacob, take it 50 to 60 years to Jacob to add 12 boys and one daughter. Okay? But then, in the other 430 years, okay, become from 70, that is the amount that they arrived to Egypt, to become 2 million. Okay? It's taken 215 years to grow from 2, okay, that was Sarah and Abraham, okay, to become 70, okay? 215 years to become 70, to enter to Egypt. Now, why does God, choose Egypt? Well, first of all, for the famine, okay, they said there's food over there, so they put it over there. But remember how the Egyptian saw the Hebrews? They're less than us, okay? They don't even eat with them. Why? Because we come from the gods, okay? They don't. So they don't mix. They don't mix. So it's like God thinking that Egypt could be the womb of the Hebrews. Why? Because they say they don't want to mix. They don't mix. Look, many of you came from a background, okay? If I told you what is your last name, come from, all of you want to have a European, most of you, okay, you're European, okay? Germany, Swedish, Norwegian, Norway, Denmark, UK, Scotland, I don't know. But think about your last name, most of you, is coming from Europe. For me, I coming from a indigenous tribe in Mexico, mixed it with Spain, okay? And maybe a little bit of the last name supposed to be coming from Germany, kind of stuff, okay? So it's a little mix of dust. But all of us have a kind of root over that. Why? Because we mix. Now you could see over here, it's already mixed. I say like, oh no, I'm kind of Norwegian, but I, kind of married, this kind of have a last name from Germany, and have mix. You put it in some place, and they mix. Well, I don't need to explain too much. My wife is from here. That's why I'm here. I don't need to explain too much. She's gone over there to study Spanish. I say, how you doing? And then I come over here. That's the short version about it, okay? So I don't need to tell you that if you bring people in one place, they want to mix. And in the end, it was a mix. But what happened in Egypt? God knows that maybe if they stay in Canaan, they're going to mix, with the other towns. But if I bring it to Egypt, they're going to be a nation. Could be a little bit of mix, yes. Of course, there's a few crazy people all the time, okay? But it's going to be a little bit of mix, but not too much. So that's why they were separate from the Egyptians. And they could, when they leave, there is a 1 million, or 2 millions, leave after 400 years, because it was the womb, okay? That get the birth, 400, not mixed, to really have a nation to go and take the promised land, okay? So seeing that way, it's like, it's not that crazy, okay? What does God is thinking about it? So he But sometimes for us, thinking that God is taking so long in doing stuff. He's taking 215 years to grow from 2 to 70. But now from 70, 430, and then become 2 million. And then that 2 millions is, we want to see it, okay? Or the next book of the Bible is Exodus, and now you will see how they were. So you need to understand that in the mind of God, they say it's a good way to make a nation who doesn't want to mix. They want to be Hebrews, and both could come all together. Genesis 50, 25, 26 says, and Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath and said, God will surely come to you aid, and then you must carry my bones up from this place. 26, so Joseph died at the age of 110, and after they embalmed him, he was placed in a coffin in Egypt. So finally, Joseph died. Okay? Joseph died, and he says, look, I know I'm going to die, but you want to stay here for a little longer, okay? There was 110 years old. He came to Egypt when he was 17. So he spent 93 years, Joseph, in Egypt. And he didn't consider that the promised land. He's still thinking the promised land is in Canaan. Now, when all these 2 months or 3 months, I don't know, okay, that we're talking about Joseph, what do you think Joseph should be recognized for? You want to recognize because of the gifts that he has to interpret dreams? Yes? No? How many are yes? Or he could be reminded by, even though the suffering that he had, he could be able to forgive their brothers. That's a good one, okay? How about he resists the temptation, okay, with Potiphar's wife? He'll be remembered for that. How about remember for how intelligent, how God, gives Joseph, he could be in charge not only about the house of Potiphar, but the whole nation of Egypt. He need to be remembered for that. But it's not like this. You know what he's remembered for? Hebrew 11:22. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning to the burial of his bones. Like what? Really? Like if I was just okay, sorry, the person who wrote it down Hebrew, I could say more about myself. Okay? You get so short in this. Really, you want to remind me because of my faith that I was giving instruction about my bones? That's what you remind me? That's my faith? And yes, because of this, when he said that, it was the Israelite wasn't there for so long. He wanted to be more than 300 more years in order to that happen. But he knew that because he's saying for the Lord, it's going to happen. Okay? He died thinking that in 300 more years, what God said about them is going to happen. That's why it's faith. Think about that. Do you think that something that God talked to you or say is going to last 300 and more years, not to happen? Imagine, we're celebrating 150th anniversary, and we think it's so wow. But not only that, Joseph see more than twice, okay? More than 300 years ahead and say, that's going to happen. So please don't leave my bones over here because I knew that we want to go to the promised land. Now, how can we apply it in our life? How long are we living here in this land? 93 years, like Joseph? Maybe. But it still is not our land. What is our land? The promised land is be with Jesus. We're here and we understand, and Paul, say about that, okay? We're not here for a while, 400 years only, okay? You want to be here for 400 years only. For us, like too much, but for God, it's not like that. So we've been here less than 100 years, okay? And Joseph didn't consider, for 93 years living in Egypt, he didn't consider his house. He's still thinking in where they're going to be. It's the same for us. We need to think about that too. It doesn't matter where we are and how long we in this place, but we know that the best place to be is with him. And if you know for sure where you're going to go after you die, okay? Joseph knows really clear where he's going after he died. Okay? He makes it say, like, look, swear that, but they say, oh man, maybe Joseph could say, but in 300 years, they're going to forget. Maybe they're going to do it. They're going to leave me here. My bones are going to leave it over here. No, look at this. Moses, okay? Exodus 13:19 says Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath. Moses wasn't there, but he knew. He said, God will surely come to you aid, and then you must carry my bones with you from this place. Happen. When you have faith in the Lord, okay? When you have faith in the Lord, okay, like Joseph, the faith that he has is like, it doesn't matter what happened right now. In 300 and some years, I know what is going to happen because the Lord said that to me. So you need to be sure, okay, with faith in the Lord, where you're going to be after here. And this is what I want to remind you, okay? Today is just a reminder. Maybe you already know, of course, I know that. Yeah, we sing songs about it. But you need to think about those things, okay? Joseph, it doesn't matter, he's been 93 years in Egypt and he still not consider his house. Sometimes we see this world and we think like, and we get discouraged, we're talking about discouraged, in the Sunday school. We get discouraged, this world, but understand that it's not our promised land. You need to think about your promised land. So this week, think about your promised land, okay? Think about the promised land. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in Egypt, okay? Living in Egypt. You still need to understand where you're going to be and believe in God, okay? In Jesus, about what he promised to you. What he promised to you when you accept him in his heart. That he's going to bring you there. That he's preparing a place for you over there. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much, for today. Thank you for remind us where is the promised land. Father, I also want to tell you that if we still have a person that we cannot forgive for X or Y, that you put in our heart, who is that person that we could forgive. Okay, we want to be free of those things. But also, when we see our life in this earth and then we get discouraged, what happened, remind us that this is not our last place. Our last place is with you. Please be with us, in this time when we back to you and say, God, show me, okay, your faith, okay, the faith that I have in you, and show us, the promised land. Bless this congregation, bless all of us, and show us or make us think about the promised land that you have for us. In the name of Jesus, amen. So, can you please stand, those who can? Oh. Okay. Well, the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and give gracious to you. The Lord turns his face toward you and give you peace, today and forever. Amen.